Greetings from somewhere. I am your host of this deep dive book review, Dylan, along with Spurg Snake. How are you today, Tommy, Mr. Spurg Snake?
I'm doing well. Got my coffee. We're finishing this book, so I am on cloud 9.5.
I'm kind of the
Like
opposite. I feel beaten down now after so
the,
many chapters of James Rolfe. I'm
I
coming at this, I feel, with the least energy of any chapter because eh,
see. This is where I get my second wind right before the finish line. The light at the end of the tunnel turns out it's not another oncoming train. It's actually blue skies and green meadows. Once we're out
Blue
of
Sky,
here.
just like Mr. Blue Sky, who supplied the theme of our show here. Thank you, MR Blue Sky, over there on SoundCloud. And we are coming to you from Rumble today. Have a little Rumble exclusive after the show. Well, I'll have a
Nice.
little interlude, 1 minute, to get us the hell off of YouTube and over to Rumble exclusive for a little watch along. We're not doing the movie. That's 2 fucking hours.
Yeah.
The
No.
at least one of two of the head incident series, which James talks about coming back to at this point. But thanks to the folks for supporting this in this run. And I, I don't recommend reading this yourself because it's too torturous. The first 150 pages are fucking nothing. And thank you for reminding me, which beloved chatter it was last week, that he had to push carts in a woman's coat. That was we come back to that
That
at
was the
some
worst,
point.
right?
His time at Shitmart, he did not illustrate why it sucked working at a real retail job. Yeah, it sucks, but it's not that much torturous as you made it seem like. That made you press continue on life for the first time when you thought about taking the box cutter to you, just to get a little
Jesus,
break.
that's right. I forgot about the box cutter part where he's just staring. I'm gonna kill myself. Dude, come on,
No,
man.
he
It's
didn't
a
want. He just wanted to hurt himself enough so he didn't have to work. Like it was a special bell-shaped curve. The secretary hadn't come out at that point yet. Maggie Gyllenhaal's character hadn't taught him how. Oopsie! I went past the yay point and to the I'm gonna have to tell someone and get some help, and I'm going to. He didn't have that reference point of how far to go just to
Yeah,
get a break
right.
from self harm.
I, I don't hear about many dudes being cutters, but if there was ever one, James would be definitely in that profile.
More cigarette burners,
Oh
guys
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
more intense. But we're not talking about that because James didn't mention any of that in his book. I would be curious if those times that he had to hit continue on life, if he's not telling us everything. He didn't tell us a thing sexually. So I'm under the
No.
assumption he's got a body count of two. His first ex-girlfriend and April. He doesn't get into the sex, so gets into the fucking delivery again. We'll get there. First, let's get to chapter 6F.
Chapter
Okay.
6F, Post Production. Shooting was officially wrapped in time for Christmas 2013. A great present.
Home run, Comey, a home run.
Yeah. There's a few chipper jokes that he gets into through this book.
Every
I should have been
time
more keen.
James does a PG joke, it sounds on level with Chip Chipperson. And I do that sometimes. I should be a fan of his shitty wordplay jokes like that, but they make me cringe.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say part of it's the inflection too. Like he's giving you the word joke. He's not just making like a pun. He's like he has an inflection on it. Like we wrapped up our blah blah. Like
he's monotone this entire book. We've ragged on him for that. So yeah, let me take this back. I think this is far enough to really hit that wrapped.
Wrapped in time.
Yep, there. I hit it just
perfect.
perfect. Wrapped. He should tour with King Nobody. Those two have the same kind of sense of humor. James to bring the people in, and King Nobody to send him home all frustrated. That's a comedy tour I would see for all the wrong reasons. Corey
Yeah.
Feldman type of audience member right there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. I've been getting into gym in them. I don't want to get too deep into that, but Corey's been in my YouTube feed a lot lately. And yeah, another
Hopefully
train
he's
wreck.
coming to a city near you this coming summer. It should be cheaper this time around without Limp Bizkit and the 5 other bands that went on after Corey Feldman. Does he have an autobiography? I could jump into the choreography. I think that exists. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
the
that's
choreography
what it's called too.
exists.
As a matter of fact.
As I was saying it, I think that's been covered by some bigger guys, but here a nice average guy could cover that as well. As I trip over my dick joke. See, my dick's too big to trip over.
Having a baby in the house makes it difficult. However, it's more manageable when you're working on your computer rather than out filming.
This and more life advice like water wet, desert hot in a movie making nerd.
Movie
This chapter.
expensive. He does everything.
He
I
got
call
into
this
the money
chapter-
at
Oh, go ahead.
weird times on this when he talked about the money for like just my health insurance and but go ahead, you have got a different title for this chapter subchapter.
Because he finished wrapping the movie and his wife had their first child. This is the postpartum chapter. He gets a little sad here. The movie's over. He's happy the movie's over. He's definitely in a bit of a depressive state because things didn't go the way they were supposed to. And later in this little bit of chapter here, we'll find out why he gets even more sad, having to continue to work on this movie.
And he has a lot of people helping him. We mentioned last time, where's Kevin Finn in all this post-production? Well, he shows back up and is able to find 80 people to work for free on this movie in the post-production. So let's hear about this free workforce that he got to do his visual effects, which, free is the price you want to pay on your movie for visual effects.
Overall, about 80 artists were working from all around the world, and they were all volunteers. We had a 40-page document listing every VFX shot, counting over 900 shots that required digital aid. This included animating fake video games, tons of green screen, monitors that needed graphics added, gunfire, lasers, explosions, a hallway with lava and floating platforms, string removals, rope removals, pole removals,
Mics.
puppeteer removals. It was ridiculous. None of
It's
us
a
ever
madhouse.
expected this much.
None of us expected this much. I dug myself into a big old fucking hole, and I just realized, hey, it's kind of deep. This is
Yep,
deep, isn't it?
exactly. That is his problem. That's so much work, and they did. That's who got the volunteers. It was Finn who rounded up 80 people who had nothing better to do.
Yeah,
for
he
all
mentioned
this
that in here.
VFX.
And he says one of the secret words. I missed it last time, but it's here this time.
If the shots weren't acceptable or didn't create continuity with other shots for whatever reason, I'd steer the artists back on the right track.
Oh, good. I'm glad you played that clip.
So I missed the continuity last time. Bimmy gives an excruciating detail of communicating with the visual effects artists. My favorite type of visual effect is we fucked up when filming. Like we need to extend this fence to the end of the frame because we needed more fence on the day. There was no way around filming this unless we were super close up and
Right.
would have gotten the fence that way. We're just that was my favorite kind of. Because the other ones are kind of unavoidable if you're going to use practical effects like strings and such. This is some of the lamest string work I've ever seen. You can
boy.
clearly tell. I wish I would have pulled that. I pulled some of the visual effects a little bit later, but and you mentioned his daughter. This is another part where I started getting frustrated at his wife. There was a quid pro quo thing that clearly went on. I help you with your movie, your dream, and you come inside me, and my vagina vomits out a baby. That's my dream. So, like, as soon as the movie was wrapped, come inside me, come inside me, come inside me. No, let me finish my dream. It's finished. I was there. How dare you take advantage of me and have me help with your life dream and neglect mine, which just made him neglect and hate his life dream. As
Yeah.
we hear, this title clip is entitled "Children Are Our Future."
Her
yeah.
first birthday was approaching. She was the future. This movie was the past. It represented who I was before I became a father. The movie was an old dream that overstayed its welcome.
I'm not doing it. I don't even want to be around anymore.
I'm glad you had that clip because I have that in quotes. Both of those lines. I didn't expect this much. 16-hour days for the next 6 months, and a dream that overstayed its welcome. That's the nutshell of this guy right here. Like, he has a vision, and when it doesn't go smooth like he wants it to, it was never worth it to begin with.
He's at this point nearly 2 years in post-production, and looking at now his year and a half year-old daughter from outside the window because he's got to finish his movie, and he just doesn't want to do it anymore, and he doesn't get into like this book should have been about an artist losing his passion and finding it again in some little horse shit. Anything new and creative, but instead we dislike James throughout, and we've got to read way between the lines. Well, it's here on the surface, but he tries not to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I am done with this. I kind of didn't like it in the first place, now I realize.
Right, exactly. And it's his choice of words with some things. He was stuffing the movie into storage. I got all these extra props and things. I got to get rid of them. And he basically makes it sound like he's shoving them into storage to do exactly that. Just, I'm over this. I'm done with it. It was not what I expected. And later in this chapter, he gets that dopamine hit from another project. And it's not a movie. But that's what he's looking for. He's like, I like to do this. Oh man, do I look down here? Oops,
Captain Miserable, Bob Levy, not looking as good as he once did. No, he doesn't want to be here anymore. So this movie took so long to come out. They actually find the cache, the pile, the dumping ground of Atari.
Oh, yes.
And I've got the clip of James talking about that here.
Some said it was as if the Ark of the Covenant had been discovered during the making of Raiders of the Lost Ark. But nobody had seen my film yet. They didn't know that the nerd finds a UFO in there or consider that it exists in a completely different fictional world. I didn't believe it affected the film, but some people presumed otherwise.
That frustrates the ever-living shit out of me. He's like, no, it's a fictional world. Where was this, James, when you were writing the script? And you were like, no, it took place in the desert, so it has to be in the desert. Area 51 is nearby, so Area 51 has to be in there. Where was this, James, who could take liberties and be like, this is a fictional world of real-life events?
Exactly. And he's that right there. He's just like so frustrating with that because he does have a clear idea that he should have had 6 months ago, 6 months later, like you just mentioned.
He also,
he was
I think
very
it's
bitter about that. Like he seemed very bitter about them finding all the ET. Like he was like, oh man, this did ruin my movie. Like he believes that, even though he said he doesn't. I think
we
he thinks
are
that the timing.
We are at the point like where any negative comment he's like coping with. So this is a Bimmy who's an unreliable narrator. I feel like he's been an unreliable narrator this whole time, and it's just ramped up where we're now in this section of his life where the Cinemassacre truth has started. Screenwave is there. There is a presence that he's aware of that's like, man. The asshole-ish variety of fan is there, and he is aware of them. So, did I play that clip? Yeah, it didn't affect the film at all. It's okay, because as he'll explain in the next film, it's a tight movie, and it stands
Oh.
out on its own.
In its final form, the movie was cut down to 1 hour and 55 minutes, which includes 7 minutes of end credits. For an independent film, people say that's too long, but to me, it felt tight and fast-paced.
But what are you, blind? Jesus!
Okay, I didn't have the clips there, but I do have my obscure wrestling reference to say, are you watching the same thing that we are all watching? That was tight to me. You still haven't seen it, and I need to get away from it for a little bit. I kind of stopped plugging my hindsight rewrite because the more I found out about this movie, I was like, I couldn't help. As another producer on this project, no, I would not have been able to help whatsoever. I've got to take this into too much of a fictional universe, which I guess is all of these people, the action heroes and the stuttering Johns of the world that make their movie no matter what. The tight fucking movie. No, wrong.
I think you would have got put in a corner if you would have tried to help him with his movie. It seems like anybody who had any decent creative idea, if they didn't present it the right way, you were out. You know, it was
The
like, no,
first-
you got to be forward facing with the rest of us, and if you're not, and you're trying to divert it, we don't like that. No
The
change.
first casting agent that they came across in Los Angeles said, You can't do this. Don't do this. I won't take your money. I can't work for you. I don't know if I'm going to get paid. You're not going to finish this. So just think this over again and don't." And they're like, "Oh, he's just negative, la 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 la," until they find someone that would like, "Oh yeah, I'll take your money, but payment up front."
Yeah, I think there's a special kind of guy out in Hollywood who sniffs out those positive attitudes and sucks them dry, gets all the prop money.
Thank you, Mr. Z, for stopping by. And the kitty cat is, of course, regularly right here.
Meow, meow, meow.
Yeah, that's never going away.
I don't know if I would have picked up on I think I would have, but both the and the meow are two of the things I'm keeping on the soundboard. The maybe the review
Yeah.
Sorry.
of the special education classes of what red, yellow, and green mean. That absolutely belonged in this book. Maybe that should remain on the board so we can revisit that.
That was. See, now that I'm reminiscing on that, like those early chapters where he's explaining his grade school, completely unnecessary, but absolutely gold. Just 100,000 memes just lying right in there. Balls on the dick. That's enough.
Yeah, the balls on the dick that got him to get upset. He mentions a little bit later of his final grandparent dying, and it was like, so what? Would that be your granddad that lived with you? Because you really didn't mention the other set of grandparents. I kind of think it was your maternal grandparents that you lived with, and that was the last one that died. I don't know. I'm kind of. He introduced grandma by saying, "So my grandma died. Now let me try to be sentimental about this." And I had to butter my own toast.
Yeah. Damn it. Because yeah, he was. I can see him standing there trying to like, with the dry ass feet, just oh my grandma's gone.
Damn it! She was trying to be nice to me all those years, but she really it made my mental slowness. I can't do this.
Right. Yeah,
I'm gonna try it with a spoon.
I think the maternal role models in his life were very much pat on the head. Let me help you out, little guy. Where dad was just kind of being a best friend. Same with grandpa. They were just kind of being dudes with him. But before we get too far out of this chapter, he uses the word hibernate. I hibernated inside in front of the computer. I was like, dude, that's not hibernating then. You're just hermiting yourself. Like, just little changes like that in the way he talks. And that's when he looks out the window and sees April playing with the
kid in the
first,
snow on the sled.
right.
First
Thank you,
time
I
on
don't
the
want
sled.
Yeah,
That was
he's
when I was like, April created this. Both she and Kevin Finn could have helped you in post production, and maybe it would have taken half the time, and then you could have dropped a load in her.
and that's the thing. Like she was
But
already
no,
on the
load
way.
me
She's
now.
like, "See ya."
Oh,
and
I
that's
need
a little,
loads now. But not today.
Exactly.
No loads today. That would be an unlucky birthday if that would actually.
Oh yeah,
happen. She was all scheduling that out. She is a master planner. To me, that comes up a little bit later. I'm pretty sure I've got it in a clip, and it's like paying respects to the one with your balls in a vice. Like, oh yes, in April,
couple of
let's
times.
not forget she's a great planner. Seems like one of the things she's proud of that he just knows he has to mention. Today was great, honey. You're a great planner. It's like 3 times maybe in this book, and it was the premiere, and April planned it. The shitty apartment in the middle of where bums shit in Hollywood. She's a great planner, and I think I've got the last one coming up soon. She's a great planner. Yeah. I'm done with F. Any more Fs to give?
yeah. After he mentions E.T. getting found and he turns bitter, if you're listening to the audiobook, his tone changes, like just right after it, and then he goes on to talk about how he burned all of the shots from this last little bit, and then threw it in the toilet and peed on it.
Oh yes,
Like he was done. He was so done with this movie that he pissed on his own product. Literally, he was turning into the nerd.
I don't think you're really supposed to put paper down a toilet. That's probably not good for your plumbing.
No, especially if it was photo paper too. It made it sound like he had a bunch of shit. He was just trying to burn and shove in the toilet.
Yeah, I was just imagining printer paper. If that's photo paper, he fucked his toilet up and that backed up, and he had to call a real man to come and fix it for him.
And then there was like sound crap he was talking about. Like they were doing the 5.1. They were like trying to get that together, post production, sound editing, and 7 minutes of credits at the end of the film.
He was very. What did I just look at? Surly, as they were getting near completion. Surly James is starting to be a little bit happier again as we get into chapter 6G.
Chapter 6G, the premiere.
Any different subtitle for this one?
Walk to the Egyptian. Right?
Walk to the Egyptian. Ah, damn it.
I
I failed the hack test. I sang it. Son of a bitch.
Sorry. I set you up for that.
Yes, you did. But if I wasn't a hack, I wouldn't have hit it off the tee. I think this is the one where he has to pay tribute to April, the fantastic planner.
Walking to the front of the Egyptian with the final film in my hand was surreal, and it was emotional seeing so many friends and family who flew over, including my mom, sister, and April, who planned the whole trip.
He has to mention that she's the one being a parent the whole time.
My ears just struck up so much. I'm pretty sure I know what type of manipulative woman that this is. It's a low-key manipulative at first, until next thing you know, you don't have any more outside time with the other outside cats. You're just an inside cat.
Yep.
All the day, all the time.
Yeah, she definitely knows how to set her hooks and then knows when to yank them, because he is on the line for sure.
And he wants to be on the line.
Yeah,
like we shouldn't be upset at her. I guess it's just the people I know that's like her. This is someone who went willingly, who knew that the worm was attached, what the hook was attached to, and willingly went up there.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're right. You're 100% right. He needs that kind of management in his life. He's used to that kind of management in his life. He's never really been alone, I don't think. He never had an apartment by himself.
Yeah. The closest thing was when he had his support group right underneath him in the apartments with Bootsy and Mike, who I really wanted to hear about in this fucking book, but there was more time dedicated to all sorts of people, like that chapter, the subchapter on the shitty production assistant, the shitty visual
Yeah.
effects guy. There's more time on him than Mike Matei. I'm certain about that, and that
Oh,
is
yeah.
just fucking unacceptable. I wanted this book to be about the camaraderie and how did you guys creatively mesh behind the scenes, the three of you and Mike and Bootsy, and the only time in his life where he doesn't take a microscope or he just goes right past. He has no idea what his audience wants, which you can see in the final product of the movie, which was a crowd pleaser though. Uh,
He also mentions that he made that movie for himself, though. He made the movie he wanted to see.
he
It's just if you like it, you're lucky.
I call bullshit. You would not want to see this movie if it wasn't made by you. This is a movie of the quality to put up on the refrigerator, not to put in a theater. But it was a crowd pleaser because people came. It sold out everywhere that it was screened. It got a small theatrical run, and the people who came to see, they're super fans. They really want to like the movie. So the first batch, they're convincing themselves. I compare it to the when I was a child and saw the Phantom Menace. I walked out confused because I was like, "Did I like it? I want to like it. I think I liked it." So here's this clip: the crowd pleasing premiere.
The film was a crowd pleaser, as we clearly witnessed in all the theaters. But on the internet, it attracted some negativity. You gotta expect that as a filmmaker. No matter how hard you work on something, no matter how hard you try to make it excellent, no movie is above criticism. It's part of the movie-going experience. We all critique movies, but some people go too far. Though most people who have contacted me, especially the ones who donated, were all happy. I love the movie. I still do. It came out exactly as we hoped.
You are a bald-faced liar.
He is sticking to his guns that this is what he wanted to do the entire way through. I'm having a hard time believing that is what he says. If you're going by the fact that James is a reliable narrator, this is what he wanted to do. He had this idea the entire time. You couldn't shake him.
Yeah, I sort of believe that to a degree. There was things he definitely was like, I gotta hit these marks. If I don't hit these marks in this movie, it's not going to be the movie I wanted. And again,
needing a
he's
kaiju
making the
and
movie for himself.
zombies, needing everything in that movie. You can have kaiju's or you can have the zombies. If I was the producer there, that's what the callback joke to the jet. Yeah, that would be great to have that Top Gun callback joke. But we're edit that joke out. We're not going to pay for that fucking jet.
Right, no kidding. And like you said, pick one or the other. And if I had to, I would have went kaiju because far cheaper except for the miniatures. That's it. That's, like you don't got to pay 40, well, not that many, but like 20 people to be zombie extras in your film. You know what I'm saying? Like it just mathematically.
The only time he
speaking,
had
and
significant,
I like kaiju.
the only time he had significant extras, they were all volunteers. So yeah, he couldn't afford those extras.
Yeah, no way he would have had the makeup either.
It does get me
okay,
frustrated when he says that this movie, this is what he wanted to do, and here's another example of that.
The film was like an experiment. What would a giant $200 million Hollywood action film look like with less than zero?
Here we go. Let me get a little bit of a bigger screen here, and I think I calculated it as 0.1%. He goes at an even lower percent than that. So they're starting out with even less than $200,000, or Bimmy can't math, or I can't math, or something. What's this percent you set this at? When I was like, it's 0.1%.
Like with less than 0.0025% of its budget. That's AVGN the movie in a nutshell.
What are you, fucking stupid? Huh?
Those
So
latter two explosions were the finale, like big finale pieces of the movie. Those were the
yeah,
some of the big special effects explosion pieces.
I the thing is he thinks that everybody will absorb it the same way he does. Oh, look at how shitty this kind of is, but it's done in a big budget way. That's hilarious. It's
I
not
get the
really a
douche
joke that's
chills.
landing. Right, right,
Something
right.
like
You know, you're like,
the fact that he thinks that that gives people the inspirations rather than the ooh.
right.
If I try something, it could turn out like that. You know what? I'm just gonna sleep and jerk off all day if that's the result of trying. Jesus. Ugh.
Exactly. It's like I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. He was trying to make a B movie on a triple A budget or a triple A budgeted B movie on a even micro budget. I don't know how I want to word that, but I think you guys get the idea. He
One
was
of the
trying to
main
make something
goals.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the main goals of doing this was to figure out why, but we don't know why because we don't believe James a bit. We think that he's full of shit. As he keeps talking about, he loves the movie. He still loves it to this day. That's why he edited all those movie references out of the re-release of his video game. I guess that's why. No, I'm just getting more frustrated, more blue-balled to know the information that you did not supply at all, that you're just putting on a happy face and saying everything's great except for those small assholish variety. This book only throws fire bombs on those assholish variety people. I was
tries
about to
to.
make an analogy that wasn't going to work. You just set the people on fire to get them more riled up at you with this book. This is wildly you were off the target. Just like James was, I call this clip Revolutionary Bimmy, because I kind of thought this was the first crowdfunding campaign for a movie. This could change the way movies are made, as did Bimmy.
My goal for the movie was to help pave the way for young independent filmmakers to revolutionize how movies are made.
You fucked up! 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 You
It's
You released it's so, as a film fan, as an autobiography fan, as one of the Cinemassacre truthers pointed out, this is the result you give, and you sit and pout when people give you legit criticism. Harsh, yes, but legit, this stinks. Both of them.
right. Right. That's in my notes. Fans of the ye ashholeless variety because James loves his movie and he is more fart smelling at the end of this little subsection. He's like, I really enjoyed this. This was so great. But earlier in the last chapter, again, he's like, you can hear it in his tone of voice. I got all these props I got to deal with. I got to stuff them in a storage unit and auction them off to recoup some of these fucking expenses. It was too much. People were ripping me off left and right. The prop master was fucking things up. But I love it. It's great. It was the best experience of my life.
He didn't make a profit from the auction of the props. He gave it to the children's hospital that helped his gimpy armed daughter become a completely mobile armed daughter. So
Yeah, that's right. He does mention.
Bimmy is a good-hearted fellow. He's got that going for him. More of a Donkey Lips Michael Bauer type of lolcow, where you kind of do eventually start feeling bad for giving him so many wedgies, because he's a good guy down at heart. But oh, good God, just move out of Reseda and go to Vegas, work at a disc golf shop, Donkey Lips. It's not going to happen. And
Disc golf. Good rep. Sorry, I don't know why that made me laugh so hard, but it did.
He needs exercise. Disc golf could help Donkey Lips
Yeah.
find a new hobby and work some of that weight off.
Yeah, and I agree. He won't leave California. Like there's some that's admitting failure, I think, in Donkey Lips case. Same with James though. Like if he stops doing certain things, he has to admit failure. This movie was one of those. Like he had to admit to himself, okay, I'm not a big budget filmmaker. And later in this chapter,
3 times at least he talks about his next movie. He's from this point on, we don't have a lot of words left, and at least 3 different references to my next film. When COVID is over, my next film is that the next chapter, the COVID chapter? I forget.
No, 6H is postpartum depression because he's going to go back into family talk. But before we get out of G, he sees a bunch of people lined up outside the Egyptian. It's great. It's wonderful. He rubs elbows with his friends, or his fans. And there's nothing but audio problems. No 5.1 audio in the theater. He's upset about it.
That's right. Right across the street is the first Guardians of the Galaxy playing as well over at El Capitan the theater. So the Egyptian, that's so funny. It's a professional theater. It's premieres happening there all the time. But Bimmy's movie is fucking snakebit the same time it rained in the desert. The sound quality in the legendary Hollywood theater, it's not agreeing with his Blu-ray, because that he did mention it's a Blu-ray that he's carrying to the theater.
Yes, and that's it. Like they had issues with that. I guess they only had center, front, and right. Like there was no rear. Like he was really upset that he didn't get to hear his movie in 5.1.
That's okay, because some of the best girls I've been with have not had a good rear, but all the other qualities outstanding.
Yes, if you're getting 2 out of 3, take those odds. And there's one thing he says, and it drove me nuts because he says it this way, and we all know it as something else. He literally says this: "It's like a law; nothing can be perfect." Like
I missed that. I was picking up on a lot of his silly sayings, and somehow I didn't clip that one. That is, well, he was piling it on in these last chapters. He was saying stupid thing after stupid thing, or just very plain, trying to sound profound. The last chapter specifically, or the last subchapter specifically, I compared it to an essay, the final paragraph of a 4th grader's essay. Like he didn't make it to middle school. I am writing this essay because that's how the last subchapter read. I wrote this book because at some point I have to stop finishing it and release it.
That's exactly how the last little thing goes in this chapter. I don't even want to call it a subsection, but it's like it's the farewell paragraph. Yeah. Please give me an A.
Oh, and before we get too deep, I don't think I've mentioned yet, we are on Rumble today, as well as YouTube and Twitch, and we are going to be going exclusive to Rumble afterward to check out a little watch-along. At least one of the head incidents, maybe 2 of them, but that's going to be a new format over here on the Dylan From Somewhere channel, and Dylan From Somewhere over on Rumble, streaming right now. Have a little extra watch-along. Not monetized over here, but we do accept super chats over here, and I will stop beating you over the head with plugs. Watch, subscribe, comment. Thank you for chatting. Back to the book. On to H, unless you've got something else for us.
No,
G.
He was just doing fart smelling at the end of that chapter. He was like so happy to meet his fans, and he did the thing. Yay!
So once again, I forgot the Simpsons quote. Put it in H.
Chapter 6H, Life After the Movie.
Postpartum. He's even more depressed now.
Shoot, I'm on the wrong page here. Oh, there it is. Well, let's just go to the first clip, and I'll jump off from there.
I'm actually amazed now that we finished it as fast as we did, especially for a story so big and complicated.
Hindsight, James. I want to throttle you. You know, it didn't take me that long. 2 years just slaving by myself 16 hours a day. You know, it wasn't that bad. You set yourself up for failure. It drives me up a wall that you won't explicitly say we set ourselves up for failure and that's why this happened. And we have to just get your happy mask version of what happened instead of what happened.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. Is that he is trying to dress up some things, and he won't admit the defeat. That this went exactly no way that he wanted it to go. He has to own it and say it was the thing he wanted, so he feels good about it. Otherwise, he won't feel good about it.
Despite the fact that he's talking about losing his passion and stuff. Actually, I guess I've got to get to Jay until we do that. It's around this time that his second daughter is born, and I was like, okay, he's not going to give us play-by-play again, is he? He's not going to tell us way too much information of what happened in the delivery room, is he?
She held my hand, crying. And then I saw blood splatter on the floor in a puddle. And then I watched them pull the placenta out of the incision.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
You didn't give us a play-by-play, but you had to get all bloody and placental talk. And you didn't even get all chefy with the placenta. Did you eat it with salt, James? Aren't you that type of dad who's going to cook it up afterwards?
Or make it in at least dried capsules. Like who did that? I think that was Tom Cruise that did that. Was doing the capsule thing.
The only dried capsules I know of is like the psilocybin dried capsules. Yeah, you can get mushrooms in little pill forms. They're wonderful.
Oh, I need some microdoses. Those would be great.
I'm a macro doser. I want that a few times a year. A big old dose.
Yeah, this chapter...
Reset the old brain.
That's exactly what I need, is a nice reboot. In this chapter, he gets explicit again, like you just saw. He's watching everything fall out of his wife from the inside out. But he starts the chapter out right away, like, oh, things were going great. We settled the birth injury suit from the first kid. Like, I didn't know that, and he didn't need to put that in the book. Like, they went to court and sued the hospital.
And she had a traumatic second birth as well. Well, not the birth.
On top of
it
that,
was
right.
the pregnancy. So blaming all these doctors for the fact that her body, like she put together her last will and testament, ready to go into the delivery room with this as her last act. And this frustrates the fuck out of me. Adopt. There are a lot of children. Like they say that having a child is the most selfless thing you can do. I think taking care of someone else's child is the most selfless thing you can do. When you must procreate with this fucking person or whatever person, because your genes are so fucking great, it's just narcissistic at that point. After the first one, the fact that you were like, I want a second one, but boy, what was that? And they sued the hospital. So basically, all of the he took funds from one medical facility and gave it to another when he wrote that check for the children's hospital. Fucking Robin Grinch James, Jesus.
Yeah, it's awful. And he does say in the book, he's like, oh yeah, we gave all that extra profit money to the Shriners, which good on him, because I do like St. Jude's and Shriners hospitals are like, child sickness is awful to me. You know what like? That's one of those things that's just in the world that shouldn't be, in my opinion. But yeah, no, he's literally robbing one hospital because they screwed up to pay another hospital who specializes in what the problem was. You know.
And the other hospital didn't really screw it up, as they were working with a body that isn't as adept for pregnancy as other bodies. She had 2 in a row. This kind of shows, no, the hospital, I think once they got the forceps out, our beloved chatter last week, the forceps, I think once the forceps came into action, a part of her mind was like, lawyer up.
Yeah, that's why I put that one birth injury clip in the Discord, because like that guy, birth injury will make them pay. Like that is a racket across daytime television. I swear to God. There's every. Did you get hit by a car? You got mesothelioma? We'll get your money. It's like, come on, man.
If you have a phone, you have a lawyer. Was
That's it.
local Maryland
That was
for us. So,
Something.
James is talking about being a father and working, and gives us an insight to his new schedule.
It is of the highest importance that I keep my work life separated from my personal life. But I don't force myself to finish projects anymore with unreasonable deadlines. Even if it means producing less content, it's the way it must be now.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the
This is the way.
This schedule is the way.
That's the thing. Like in this chapter, he starts out with the birth stuff and then talks about his grandpa dying, which we kind of talked about pre-show. I do think it's his grandpa on his mom's side. I think that was his mom's parents that he was talking about mostly.
I'm that's what I was under the impression of. We were never explicitly told, but yeah, anytime there were grandparents, I think it was the maternal grandparents, and yeah, kind of filling in the pieces here, and didn't get a good idea of who Grandpa was. Grandma is another one that he wrote all wrong, and she was actually a early source of his vulgar sense of humor that he could have tied together rather than kind of leaving it just out there to hang.
He says it here that granddad is the OG nerd. That's who gave him his first video game. Was grandpa. And grandma
Vulgarity
was the one who made him
from
vulgar.
Vulgarity from grandma, nerdisms from grandpa, and that was something that we put together. You didn't put that together right in a row, Bimmy. You
That's what
missed.
Swing and a miss.
So April is absolutely amazing. Here's a paragraph telling us about that.
And April is the best possible mother they could ever have. She has all the instincts and expertise. She truly sacrifices herself to take care of them day by day. There is no doubt our kids are very lucky to have her as a mother.
No,
I got
fair
nothing
to
more
him
for this
for-
chapter, but you're doing it wrong. You're making it seem like April has a gun pointed to your head just off camera.
Yes. That's exactly how it comes off a little bit, is that he is he's definitely being corralled into this type of mindset. Yeah, it talks about his next film. I am surmising that Papa James has killed the nerd. Fatherhood James has suffocated nerd character, and now that's just an afterthought. It's all about being a dad. I don't even think it's about making a next film, because he does mention that here. Like, I got a next movie in my mind.
He mentions
Yeah.
we're in COVID at this point, right? We're in H. Anything else for
about.
H? Because I'm ready for COVID on I.
Yeah, that's so. Why he even talks about COVID, I don't know. Weird stories from the ER, which we went over. 2017, James seen suffering, now relived. Oh my God. He's getting back to normal. He likes his routine, and his routine makes him retired. Like he just has an old man. I got to get my early bird special at the Golden Corral and be home to take care of the grandkids, which are actually his kids. You know, like he feels his parenting style is more like a granddad than an actual dad to me.
Everything's winding on down. So when he does interject here several times in quick succession, my next movie, no. Everything you were saying is pointing into the direction, and everything you told us about the movie, you don't have it in you to begin with. But at this age, I kind of have it in me. I want to. I wound things down to simplicity again. I want to go and be a production assistant. Well, I want to be more than that, but I want to work on film nonsense again. And James just doesn't have that. It doesn't sound like that's in him at all, of wanting to rev up again. He wants to sit out on the pouch with his kids and that's about it. So it's just so out of place, as he says, but my next movie, who's giving you this
Right.
money for the next movie when your first one was, we don't care about it financially. No one's going to hire you for that if that's part of your directing theory. Financials don't matter. No. In this film business, we don't even consider business.
Exactly. And that's what he boils down to. Like he just does like he sounds a little ambitious still in these couple next chapters, but it's basically relieved, retired, and routine. Those are the 3 R's for Bims now. He just wants no stress. He wants to be at home all the time, and he wants to, which we'll get into here in the COVID talk in 6i, he wants to just crank these videos out, web videos. which he's
It
not
was
referring them to.
It was much like the 9/11 chapter, wildly unnecessary. Yes, that was a big event that happened that year, but just wildly unnecessary in telling your story.
Chapter 6I, After COVID Hit.
He said
hit
COVID
Mike
hit.
Tyson. Yeah, but Mike Tyson? Wow, that's a strong virus.
He wrote a lot of this wasn't edited after COVID. It's written as if he's still in lockdowns and didn't need to be in the final book at all. Of, well, when COVID ends, I can't wait to direct my next movie. But in the meantime, I reprised, and I did pull that. I like pulling all of his sabotage. So here he is with his reprisal or reprisal.
I reunited with my old neighborhood friend John D. from the original scrapped version, Deadhead. I also brought back Kevin and Kirk, who reprised their roles virtually.
And that is what we're going to be watching
caught
over
that.
on Rumble. After we're done streaming here, a little extra Rumble watch along for the head incident part 2, part 1 as well, if there's time. If we haven't done the old what's that senator's name? Can't. That would have been great if I could remember this. The senator that did that on national television. I know Nimrod knows it. You just came in here. You'll remind me in just a moment. Good old.
Yeah, I don't
Jumping
remember
into a
either.
project.
I just started playing a clip because I can't think of the reference.
That's what you jump into a clip. Hurry up.
Greg Hunt was the first one to get our Bud Dwyer.
Bud
Thank
Dwyer,
you. As I was vamping terribly at that point because I wanted to remember it. No surprise that Luigi Greenberg
Luigi
coming in
knows too.
second there as well. We may
That's on.
do 2 over on Rumble after this of the head incidents, but 2 might take us to an R. Bud Dwyer. So we'll see. Check us out, Dylan from Somewhere Rumble after this. As
Yeah, I
do
put
you
the
have
link in the
a
chat. Pin it.
what's that?
I said I put the link in the chat.
Yes, you did.
If you scroll up.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll
we'll do it again. Watch this. Hey. Look how
all
smart I
right.
am.
So any new subchapter for this one, or subchapter different title?
Well, yeah, just chatting about COVID because he's like, oh, this is ruining my life, being trapped in the house. My first note though is more wife wears the pants because whatever was going on during COVID, she had it all wrapped up. She was putting tarp over people and saran wrapping her children to the refrigerator or whatever.
She was the absolute yeah. I think I'm done with April clips. I've already had my outburst of the day for saying maybe she isn't this bad, but she reminds me of people that are very manipulative that I know likey, and it's
I
your
agree with
fault. It's your fault, James. You wrote her that way, and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because you and I both have that same perception on it. And I know I'm connecting it with people that I know that act like that. And so I'm probably lumping in maybe a few unwarranted attributes, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be there anyway. There's definitely personality types, and James wrote one out for her in this book that's very unflattering.
Well, he does say he got some wisdom from that first filming, as he says right here.
Jumping into a project without
Oh, yeah.
careful planning is a recipe for chaos. The wisdom and firsthand experience I gained from the AVGN movie was monumental. It goes beyond words how much I've learned, and I can't wait to apply that knowledge when approaching the next film.
Oh, I was lacking. I was supposed to get, and are you sure about that? From you think
Yeah,
you
exactly.
should leave. I knew I got the one I think you should leave drop, but are you sure about that, James? Are you sure about that? Because I
I
don't believe you got the proper amount of wisdom, and I think you would just cower in the corner again and turn off if things go haywire, which they happen. Haywire will happen. I remember when an ambulance visited the set like 3 times in a single day when it was supposed to be a nice, quiet day in a residential home that someone owned. And oh boy, the neighbors probably hated us after that. So, sorry, neighbors. I blame the wind.
That's what happens. But like, and that's the thing. It's like when anything unforeseen happens to James, it's a slight against him personally. It's like everything can't just roll smoothly. Why does this got to be happening to me right now? And he gets dramatic about it. He went from this movie is ruining my life a few chapters ago to this is the best movie I've ever made, and enjoying his own project. But
I don't have the South Park smart snipping on the board, but you're right. I missed an opportunity to throw that on here at the end as he goes back and forth from self-loathing to.
yeah, this is a great thing. Yeah, exactly. This is a great thing that I did. He mentions because of COVID, he puts all the films on hiatus, which were never even started.
Yeah, the film, his next feature film is on hiatus when pre-production never started.
Right. I don't even. He has a abstract idea in his head. That's a film already in his mind. You know.
I've got. Yeah, let me get out my notebook where I just have on several pages every single project. In that case, I'm on pre-production in about 36 things. If we're going by the way James does it,
Yeah,
James.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like he changes his language to make him sound more professional, when in fact he's just a guy that cranks out web videos. You know, that's what he does, and he resigned himself to.
I've got nothing more for Six Eye. Anything else before we get to the chapter everyone's been waiting for?
So, yeah, he talks about making the head incident part 2, getting back to his roots, and he does realize he isn't better, or he realizes he's better in short form, like making shorter films that last, 20 to 30 minutes versus trying to cram in everything into a 2-hour fucking debacle.
He set himself up for such failure. Of course, you have a nasty experience from a feature-length film when the feature-length film is intensely more difficult than anything you have ever done combined, all the way back to Jimmy Rolfe versus the punching bag.
Right. Like, that's what I mean. And I call it a machine face. And I'm not really bagging on him because I also have a machine. It's this look, the shaved head, facial hair. Uncle Jack has it too. He's a machine face. I am. John is. There's a couple other guys that are floating around. The guy from Anthrax, make the face.
Oh yeah, Ian he's got that for sure. The biggest of all goatees, Ian from Anthrax.
And yeah, so Bimmy needs to stick with small screens and short forms, and he's all right. And later on when we get into
I'm ready for it.
Rex Vipers. Go for it.
I'm ready for it.
Chapter 6J, Rex Viper. Rex Viper. Rex Viper. Rex Viper.
I had to repeat the way he says Rex Viper. It's just so silly. Rex Viper. This is his creative renaissance. He's never been in a band before. It's his first time in a band, and he fucking loves it.
It's the second time he's in a band because he played drums in that band in college that never went anywhere when he was trying to be in a band to get chicks.
I don't think he ever made it
hear
to a. I don't think he ever made it to a live performance.
No.
Judging on the way he talks about his Rex Viper's first live performance together,
Oh, God.
and here he gives us an idea of what kind of music Rex Viper makes.
Uplifting, training montage music that picks you up when you're feeling down. I call it workout music for nerds. Working on the songs and music videos invigorated me. I forgot that making music videos is one of my favorite things to do, ever.
Ever. Rex Viper, one of the favorite things to do ever. Sounds like someone that's having an epiphany that they didn't really like what they've been doing for the past decade and a half.
That's what
Well,
I mean.
2 decades even.
Yeah, there. Because he was already talking about the 10-year anniversary when he was watching his kids outside playing in the snow. Machine Face is a Bush cover band. I did not know that's the Chunksta. Good to see you too. Shout out to the chat. Lots of people here today. Happy to see everybody.
Yeah, thanks for checking us out here. And as I mentioned just a little bit ago, you can subscribe to us over on Rumble for a little bit of extra. That's how the show is going to be going forward. And I just mentioned that recently. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Thank you for being here. Back to the book, so I don't bog you down in that horse shit. Oh,
Good man.
I love when James compares himself to very popular figures. It's been a while. It was some director, like chapters and chapters and chapters ago. But here we've got someone else that he compared himself to that gave me a smile.
Rex Viper is one of the most fun projects I ever worked on. And it's funny to think we posted our first music video close to my 40th birthday. Rob Zombie was around the same age when he first made House of a Thousand Corpses. Until then, his focus was music. For me, it was the other way around. I made films first and then started doing music. It's okay to have multiple ambitions. Sometimes you have to stick with one for a while, but as you grow older, it's never too late to switch things up.
This is the point where I wanted to bludgeon him.
I had to keep that extra part in there. It's okay to have more than one passion and pursue them mainly at 2 different times of life. What is this, James? This is where he's like Aaron Imholt in that he's talking to fucking children, not adult audience members at this point.
Excellent comparison, because that's exactly what that is. He is straight up talking down to every fan of his, or anybody who would pick up this book. Only fans of his would pick up this book. And I was like, hey guys, did you know it's okay to like more than one thing? Did you know it's okay to pursue more than one passion in your life? You don't have to just focus on one thing. You could do many things.
Did you know if you burn yourself out on one passion, it's
Right.
it's okay to not do that for a while, or hire a bunch of chubby guys and one slob who makes them all in group be called slobs. You can have those slobs do your work for you. It's okay while you actually do your real passion of. Anytime I've heard their music, it doesn't sound like cover music. Carl Hamburger, when he covered his podcast, he was like, have they heard the theme to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out before? Because the theme, there are covers of video game themes. It's never sounded like the video games themes to me.
No, and that's the thing. Anybody who's been on that subreddit knows what Rex Viper sounds like. I almost called it Sex Diaper again. I gotta stop you. Like it's the sound. The sound is awful. In this chapter, he's like, "Oh, I missed a few notes." It's like, yeah, buddy, you missed a lot of notes. He explains.
Let's get to him describing. Oh, yep, yeah, okay. You go there first.
One more thing I wanna, because he says it. He says this. This is his new passion. He loves the Rex Viper stuff. He has found it that in his soul, he is a rhythm guitar player. He is a rhythm guitar. I have never, ever in my life. I mean, some people settle in as a rhythm guitar player, and usually those guys have their own solo project where they can be fully creative. But nope, I never, ever heard, I am a rhythm player. I just play rhythm. That's all I do. And mostly it's bar chords.
See, that's why I am only a C+ at best host. I was about to cut you off from that very passionate, what the fuck, Mr. Rhythm Guitarist rant.
I'm sorry. I'm not very good at guitar. I've been playing for a while, and I play mostly rhythm stuff. I'm not very good at like lead patterns and stuff. Like I can hear it and I'll figure it out. But like he just stands there chunking all day. That's all he does is a lot. And Chunk still know. And if Bonin was here, he would tell you it's a lot of straight up just. I know you can't hear it probably, but it's imagine punk music and being played poorly. If punk rock couldn't get any more sloppy, that's James Rolfe, without sounding good, And like you said, he's trying to play video game hits, and you can't recognize some of them. He tries to play '80s hits, and then work video. Eye of the Tiger electronics was something I feel like could have went in a much better direction, and it just. But okay, let's continue on though, because he does talk about how the band gets to their first show.
I almost cut you off of that rant. You are very passionate of rhythm guitars, James. Here it is, straight from the horse's mouth.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bimmy.
Now we have to make sure we can actually remember all the notes and pull it off live.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
So
That's one of
we
my
flew the
favorite.
members in and met as a full band for the first time ever, only 4 days before the show.
Because this is a COVID band. They have all done all their stuff like individually and then edited them together in post. So this is 4 days before the first time that they're getting to practice. And this goes on a little more describing those practice days.
We practiced
Yes.
3 nights in a row for a few hours each. We went through the set list, and to my surprise, we actually sounded pretty good. A few little fuck-ups here and there, but nothing major.
They practiced in person all of 9 hours before going out to too many games or whatever the fuck it was that they were at the convention of. Luckily, those people paid for the convention. They did not pay for Rex Viper and Rex Viper alone.
No, and he goes on to talk about how everybody was cheering and they loved us and they wanted autographs and blah, blah, blah. He is getting the semi-rock star experience, the semi-filmmaker experience because of conventions. If he didn't go anywhere, nobody would give a shit, like. And the other thing that frustrates me, I have to be honest, I feel like this Rex Viper band did exactly what Brendan Schaub did with comedy. Like he kind of had a built-in
I agree.
audience already. And
I didn't make that parallel, but you're absolutely right. Rex Viper's debut was his Showtime comedy special before they had to go and make Gringo Poppy in their garage with no help whatsoever.
exactly that, man. Like he jumped the line. He didn't put any work into playing out at shitty clubs or anything like that. The band wasn't tight at all. 6 hours of practice before playing your first show. Generously 9, like you said, maybe 3 hours a day for the first. I'm not saying more than 8, really.
Because
and they thought they
you're
had it
there
down.
for 9 hours, but you got your
around,
breaks in the
meantime.
middle. You're gonna fiddle fuck around there when you need to take a break.
And yeah, I'm ripping on Bimster a little bit, but their fucking lead guitarist, he's very fitting for the band because he's somebody who made learning guitar more difficult on himself for a mediocre result.
Had to play it upside down. I think we've been over that rant at least once in this review, and that was one of the early things, I believe, in the original Chatting with Beloved Chatters. You got into he's holding it upside down, that cocksucker.
And not only that, it's reversed strung. So anybody who picks up a guitar, the bass string is closest up. It's up here. Which I'm doing it again. So it should go low to high. But he has to strum everything this way. So he's playing that versus the other way whenever they're playing together. He has to like reverse stroke everything. And it's easier to go da-da-da-da-da-da up to a higher note than it is to go da-da-da-da-da-da down to a lower note. So everything that would be easier for him to play is more difficult to play. And it doesn't translate the other way around, I don't think. And there's only one other person in history that I know played a right-handed guitar upside down and reverse strung. It was some country bumpkin black lady who learned to play guitar because that's all she had in a one-room shack. This guy, it's 2025. He at least started in the 90s playing guitar. There's no excuse to play that way.
I say sabotage.
Sabotage. Oh, yeah, I love it. William Shatner's great.
I
will
say
rant about
continuity.
he
I
also
play my guitar this way.
Yes, exactly. I did catch a magical. He said magical, but he didn't. He rolled that too. It was weird.
I didn't pull that one. That one rolled
either.
right
I just
past
let
me.
go.
However, he said magical. But he did have a good omen on this being a good performance.
But anytime I was nervous, it always meant things were going to turn out awesome.
Just a silly little quote. It's him trying to be inspirational. It's not falling as flat as some of his other attempts at inspiration. As my next clip will have. Anything else for Rex Viper? My next one is getting into the final chapter.
Oh yes. Sorry, I was reading Cut of the Jibs. I tend to agree. Buckethead is really good. That dude's probably put out about 60 fucking albums. And Tim Henson, also a very, very skilled guitarist. And Hackred was playing some of these. He's got one. He's like, this guy's like a Jimi Hendrix. It's all guitar calisthenics and effects, man. All these people are super shredders now. It's more impressive to me now if you can write a good blues tune that isn't at 120 beats per minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put more passion and effort into your music as a person. Sorry. Yes, Sam Bibley says Hoss, and Sam V calls me boss. So one Sam is Hoss, the other Sam is boss.
Something that I was disappointed he didn't mention about Rex Viper that he's said elsewhere is that they had so many music video ideas before they had written the songs for the music videos. just everything bass backwards.
Just like with your notebook, dude, you got 38 projects in the works right now just because you wrote a title down on paper. Like, that's how he's like, oh yeah, we could do this, and this, and then it just never comes to fruition. I think that, like, you know, it gets to a point where it's work. It's not art anymore. It's not fun anymore. It's a job. And that's where he is like, it's too stressful. I got to quit. Because it all reminds him of Shitmark too much.
And Shitmart does get a call out coming here in a moment. The way I almost forgot the way that James talks about performing in front of this live crowd. He's coming at it with such childlike wonderment. It's a little kid. I mentioned Donkey Lips earlier. That was another Donkey Lips moment of the way he's like a child. They're all cheering for me and the music I'm making. It's like my movie, but I'm where the screen is, and it's all at me.
That's exactly right. It's Mort Stewart. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Get out of here.
And that was the last call for the Rex Viper chapter. On to K. Good for some special K, sir?
I refuse. This is the entire fart sniffing. I'm an inspiration because I did some shit chapter. I don't have very many notes on this one. Because
you summed it up.
Did you mention it pre-show, or was that during the show where it's like the essay? That was
the first paragraph is like an essay question, and I've got the whole thing here.
Chapter 6K, Reflections.
And on to the opening paragraph. I think I might have cut out the first sentence or two, but get ready. Your eyes might want to roll out of your head. Hold them in place for this opening paragraph.
As life goes on, there will be more stories to tell. But I think it's time to finally release this book, if I can help myself from adding to it anymore. I'll close by saying goodbye to the past. I've taken you back, but now it's time to move forward.
We're sending you back to the future.
I love that because like, who's he pointing at? That was such a great shot, and I'm sorry.
We could talk about Back to the Future all day, and I could talk even more soon about Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis' other movies, Used Cars, because I bought it on DVD because it had an audio commentary. I'm not passing that up. Fuck yeah.
No way. I know. As soon as I saw Back to the Future, I was like, "Ooh, something interesting."
And you're just ready to not talk about this final chapter anymore. Let's talk about how Christopher Lloyd's career was just hunky-dory until Suburban Commando. Rip, 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 rip. Hulk Hogan. Brrr.
Oh man, didn't he was a Hulk played was it? I know Suburban Commando was one. But
Mr. Nanny was another one.
That's it. Thank you. That's the one I was thinking of, Mr. Nanny.
Both better than the AVGN movie, but actually maybe they weren't as profoundly bad as the AVGN movie, which makes it more memorable, to be honest, than Mr. Nanny. It was more of a middling bad movie.
That's the weird thing about James. It's like I intentionally made this movie look like shit because I think that's funny. Well, why did you need a huge budget to make a movie look like shit, dude? You know, like. He could have done a lot more shitty shit with the little budget he did have. What's up, dang lizard? Sorry.
Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, there might be some kinks that I need to work out of the Rumble. I just created it, so giving it a try with a little bonus content after this. And if we have some kinks to work out, we will hopefully be working them out sooner than later. Meanwhile, Bimmy, he's getting he's getting profound with thoughts like, I've changed, but I've remained the same. And the town that I live in, it's changed, but it's also remained the same. Ugh. This clip I entitled "Children Are Our Future." I haven't heard James say that much in real life, but as far as this book goes, that belongs in our Spaceballs doll of James, where he says "Children are our future," because he said it so many times.
It looks very different with serpentine loops and a modern shape. To me, this represents the new generation. I consider it the dragon of my daughters. It's theirs. They are the future. Rex Viper.
They play so fine, don't you agree?
Such a
I
chocolate.
believe the children are our future. Thank you. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride.
I thought of that both times, and the fact that he said it a second time, I was like, oh, I've got to get "The Children Are Our Future" of sexual chocolate performance. Ugh. I don't think I have
everybody.
I don't think I have any more to say other than he's turning kind of into a version of Helen Lovejoy instead of think of the children.
Think of the children.
Won't somebody please think of the children? The children are our future.
Yeah, that's that was my school song in like 1989, 88 maybe, 89. I don't know. I just remember going to music class and them forcing us to sing that one and I can't remember. Da-na-na-na. Sometimes in our life we all have a lean on me. That's the other one. I had to like sing it in my head to get to the chorus.
When you're away. Yeah. I've got two more clips. One is the important one of things changing around him, including some of the less fun things.
But the one that affected me the most was seeing the shit mart, my first job, now vacated. Staring at the empty building, I thought of all the stress and worry that place used to cause me. All the social anxiety I had, now all gone. None of that meant a thing to me anymore. Not only was the job temporary, but the business didn't last either, and probably soon the building would be gone too. Everything is gone eventually, including the negative things.
Like shit, Mart. Where did Kmart touch you? So he says the business isn't around anymore. So indeed, Kmart is going down the tubes and Walmart is not. Where did Kmart touch you, for fuck's sake? Because otherwise it just sounds like you're an elitist with your jobs, and anyone who works retail is a fucking piece of shit. That's what I get out of this, James. You might want to revise this book before releasing it to the public. Oh, shit.
Yeah, oops. He does it a couple of times. Like when he was like, "Oh, I guess that's why normal people don't make movies." It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Normal people don't make. People who make movies aren't abnormal. They just have a better and a stronger passion and a tighter drive than he does. You know, like for James Rolfe, I feel like when the tough gets going, James gets running. You know, he's like, "Oh, this is hard work. I gotta go." You know, it's too stressful. It's triggering me now. You know, like
I do picture him as Tweak. If he was any South Park character, it's too much pressure. It's not enough time.
That was great. The first time they introduced Tweak, they had his parents there, and his dad's like a coffee shop owner. He's like,
yes, I believe it was the Underpants.
Like yeah, that whole episode. A cup of Tweaks coffee is like a warm sweater on a spring morning, or some shit like the whole spiel was always got me cracking up because I hate coffee commercials that do that. They like try to.
They put in that music, the acoustic guitar music behind him every time.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember as being a kid, there was always like the two single ladies at the table. Who is that barista in Paris again? Jean-Luc. And they're like all like just having this cup of instant fucking shit coffee after spending all their time in Italy. Can't afford real beans anymore. Oh, all right, back to I digress.
Yeah, the link we sent out, that was for the user page, but it should be running on Rumble right now, and we're about to go over there exclusively. This book goes out with a whimper as far as I'm concerned. Here's the last clip I've got to take us out. Like a cutoff of Sting's album, as we saw with Bill O'Reilly earlier. God, I love that.
As a kid, I always said, I want to be a movie director. But if I could talk to my younger self, I would say, you already are.
Bullshit.
You're playing movie director. And the fact, the way he was talking about being a music star for those people in Rex Viper, I'm wondering if that's what he would have leaned towards if his parents would have shoved that in front of him first, instead of him usurping the family camera. I want to make movies. What if they got him drums first to just pound out your slow child rage with?
Oh, yeah. See, and that's the thing. That was another thing. He started on drums. I don't know if he did have a drum set. Those aren't cheap. You know, like a basic drum kit is probably $300, $350. You know, with
he barely mentioned
and cymbals.
He barely mentioned the drums. I wonder if it's like Joe's Apartment, where he just said I could play drums, and that's why he didn't last in the band, because he was just like, sure, I could play drums.
That's exactly how it lasted. Yep, that's exactly how it went with my first band. Oh, I could play bass, dude. Let me see. And then like they showed me what to play, and I was like, I can't play bass, dude. And that's what I feel like James had that same exact problem. That right there. I can do this. And then he sat down to do it, and it was like, oh, wait, I don't have the coordination or the timing. Because there's a lot more things that you don't think about when you take on a project, especially one of a monumental size like making a film or a serious band project. You have to practice like twice a week, and you should be playing your instrument like 20 minutes a day, a half hour a day, just to keep your chops up. So you stay like, you know, less time to warm up when you get to practice or a show. There's no, real quick, just James has no care for the technical fundamentals for whatever project he's working on. He doesn't care.
Absolutely right. He's doing it for fun, and be damned. I taught myself. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years. You've been doing it wrong for years. I've been doing this for years.
That's it. That's the attitude.
As we're wrapping up here, this this book, and I want more books with an unreliable narrator, where we know that he's an unreliable narrator. I mentioned the choreography earlier, and I was like, oh, of course, that would be great. We know damn sure Corey Feldman is an unreliable narrator. And we've just got no sense of who anyone else in James's life was. They're just all kind of facades, cardboard cutouts of people that he was around. There was someone that he referred to in the book as Roomgoer W, who ended up double crossing him, being the one that turned him into. How did Roomgoer W end up with a copy of this? I never sent it to Roomgoer W. Call him fucking Philip. Call him anything. But Roomgoer X and Roomgoer W. I forget what Roomgoer X did, but the fact that he had someone specific as X and W for sub-chapters on end. Oh, this needed like double the chapters and no sub-chapters. It's the skeleton of a book. It's how I would like write the outline of my autobiography of the chapters will be childhood and 20s, and that's the outline, and then you figure out your narrative for the audience from there. And I actually had this complaint of Anthony Cumia's book. He wasn't like the narrative on his was just tacked on. I forget who it was with, but it was definitely his buddy who tacked on. What do we do? Okay, your love for New York, your relationship for New York. Let's tack on a few pages about New York City in the beginning and end. And this one, it was all about how James was destined to be a filmmaker, rather than the team effort of being an early YouTuber. I'm fucking offended that we didn't get to hear about Big Cock Mike Matei, except for it was like in passing, basically, all we heard about Mike Matei. That's what I was getting so frustrated about. When are we going to get to the Mike Matei factory? And it was fucking Poochie. We never got to the Mike Matei factory.
He went away. He took off and he was out of the world. Yeah, dude, I know a lot of the people who have been fans of James's for a long time were very upset that they didn't get any type of closure with the relationships between Mike, Bootsy, and James. Like, there was near none of that. You know, oh, we met at college. We hung out and played on the couch. Mike said he's going to make me a star. And he stayed home while I went and made a movie and fucked up the YouTube channel a little bit. And now Big Ryan is trying to fix it all. It's basically, you know...
He didn't get into the relationship enough to get into the fallout of the relationship.
Right.
And do you remember he has a sister? He's got a younger sister.
That's right, because he was torturing her by forcing her to be in his films early on in life. And she was like, fuck this, I'm gone. I'm guarantee you she got a job somewhere. I was like, I'll call mom on the holidays, you know.
That did kind of remind me of Howard Stern's book, though, because Howard is such a self-involved narcissist. There's a little bit of a mention of his older sister when they're kids, and then just never again. It's like he's an only child from there on out, and that's the only way I'll be comparing this book to Howard Stern's Private Parts. That was a good book and a good movie. Really good. Maybe not for the fans, but for the wider audience. That movie. But I'm not reviewing the Howard Stern show right now. I'm wrapping up reviewing this book, and we've talked about this longer than I intended. And I think my points are beaten into the ground at this point. I'm about to sign off and go over to Rumble exclusive. Dylan from somewhere over on Rumble should be running right now. We've got a few beloved chatters who are already over there, and we're going to check out at least one of the head movies. Anything to sign out with on this final episode of the Bimmy book review?
Just more agreeing with you. Like you said, he wrote a lot of characters as cardboard cutouts, and they're just around. This is a very self-centered book, and James thinks his batting average is way above what it is for the type of content he makes. He suffered the turn. Absolutely. The turn came for James.
With
but
very
he's
little
navigating it
mention
well. I'll give him,
of the turn. He's guiding the turn well because he is very minimally acknowledging it. It's just a few asshole-ish fans.
right. And you know, there was insight to who James is, but not the stuff I think he wanted us to kind of pick up on. You know, like we were talking earlier, we got a good idea of how April is based on what he wrote. It's not necessarily one-dimensional, but he painted enough of that picture that we know who that person is in our own friend circle. You know, so...
And she is, I find her not hot and not ugly. She is, she's acceptable.
Average, yeah.
Not going to goof on her for being unattractive, and not going to fawn over her for being attractive. So she look like a lady.
Yeah,
A. Smith.
yeah, she's very much a soccer mom kind of person. If I had to make a judgment call, I would say Mike Matei's girlfriend's cuter, just to be a shithead to say something like that. See, and look, somebody mentioned Neil Breen. Like, do I think Neil Breen is a better filmmaker than Bimmy? I have to say so.
He's made more than one. He did not take on a project that was too big for him. Well, he did, but he got it. But he's got it done multiple times over. The fact that he's done it multiple times, Neil Breen, better filmmaker than the Bimster. It's of similar quality. The fact that he's done it multiple times is, to me, what for sure gives him the edge.
And I guarantee, and here's another thing. Neil Breen actually made a slightly helpful DVD about how he makes his films. Like, if you were an average Joe like myself and had no entry point and watched that, you would at least get, okay, this is how Premiere works. This is how sound editing works. This is how you chroma key shit out. You know, like, there was no technical help here from Bimmy. There was no guidance really, except to not film in Hollywood and be careful with your money and don't make big mistakes. It was like, here's
don't
what
make
I did.
big
I did
mistakes
everything wrong. Right.
By allowing other people to make big mistakes, admitting to next to none of his big mistakes, but his biggest mistake, allowing other people to make big mistakes.
That's it. There you go. That's a good point to end on. He lets other people make the mistakes for him.
So this book was torturous. Thank you all for sticking with me. You can stick with us on Rumble. This will be our regular format. Next week, 10 p.m. on Wednesdays, I believe, will be my new time. Still waiting to get my schedule, so that's everything should be in place for me to be 10 p.m. regularly on Wednesdays going forth, because I need to pay the bills. If you want to help me pay the bills, you can send me Super Chat, Venmo, all that stuff that Aaron Imholt says, or just for free. Keep watching, keep sharing, follow me on Rumble. That is the nice free way you can help me. Gonna see if we can get out of here on YouTube right now and take it to Rumble exclusive. Join us over there. Thank you all for joining. Stick around on Rumble.
The blue goes there on the sea, painting the wall with shades of green. Laughing loud, causing sweet destruction, building worlds of knowledge.